From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John.
How y'all are? KJ Rob here hanging out with you.
Nice. I mean, if you guys didn't see last night's show, you need to go back and watch. You need to watch it.
Yeah, we had a surprise special guest, and we was blessed to have him on there. Great guy.
Man, we covered a lot of things. We covered tournament fishing, how to get started into it, what happens if you have a clothing issue, what happens if you...
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Some chemical issues, let's say.
Yeah. Some real magic tips and tricks on not what to do with it or where to put it.
Yep.
But anyways, tonight Rob and I decided that, you know what, we're going to do our stories for Co-Angler's Corner, for the Co-Anglers version, and I think it's going to be fun. And if any of you guys have any comments or questions or stories yourself, let us know. If you want to come on the podcast, I can shoot you over a link, and we can go from there.
Absolutely. I know there's some always some crazy stuff. Seems like always happens around the lake, and especially in tournaments. There's always something going on. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Yep. And I can't wait. I hope people chime in with their stories, and you and I told a lot of ours through the time, and but having people chime in and tell us their stories, and that to me is will make tonight's show great.
Oh, absolutely, and so. I said I think one of mine, I'm gonna start off with, is when I got in tournaments a little bit in the early 2000s, fished one here, one there, but like I think it's 2017, I said I'm gonna fish the whole season of BFLs, and first tournament kind of showed me I could do it, so it went good.
Good, yeah, nice. But I, like a lot of other guys, started at the club level. My first year, my first tournament, I was a smoker. I set the hook 30 times. I think I burnt my line off 25.
That happens.
I was setting the hook, straight hook set, getting them, and I burned my line. And this is back in the monofilament days. It wasn't the braid. Yeah. And that's one of the kick myself in the rear stories. Oh yeah,
it happens, and live and learn, and you get better for the next one.
And it was later on in it was the next tournament. I went out, and I had some chew in my mouth, and we stuck a wave. I swallowed my tobacco.
Oh,
yeah, that made, and that was like at 10 o'clock in the morning. That made for a rough day.
That's not good.
And my boater, a good friend of mine, who was laughing at me.
he got entertainment out of it.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, I did not get sick though.
Oh, cool.
So,
nothing wrong with that.
No. Well, yeah, there was a lot wrong.
Yeah. At least you survived today.
Exactly. I could still feel that pit in my stomach and the taste in the back of my throat of it. Yeah. It's not anything I really want to do again.
No, I wouldn't suggest that.
So, boss man, how about you? You got anything comparable to that, or?
Yeah, like I said, I'll kind of rehash my first tournament. Like I said, when I first started BFLs, and so 2017, I said I'm going to do the full season. I'm going to see if I can do this. So first tournament, I go out. I owned 3 rods at the time, so I brought all 3 rods. I think a flipping stick, 7-foot medium heavy, and a spinning rod. And I said I'm going to make it happen. And so we take off, and it's Del Hollow like in 1st of March, and it's cold. It's spitting rain, snow. It's 40s. I got like 3 layers on, so I'm like the kid Christmas story. My arms are like, everything's kind of stiff. So I start flipping the jig, and I catch a couple, and decent ones. And one I think was a keeper, one wasn't. So anyway, so we run this little bitty, tiny creek, and I had a young boater, great guy. I still talk to him, and so he run way back in this creek, and I'm still flipping a jig, and I think I had a Andy Montgomery Strike King pitching jig, I think. But anyway, so I flip it out, and of course I get the professional overrun, I'm like, dang it. So I'm like, peeling off line, get the loop out, and I reel it in. I'm like, hey, something's on here. So a 3-pounder was on there, and I was like, ding, dead stick. They don't want it moved; they just want a dead stick. So I keep doing. About 4 or 5 casts later, there's this like 6-inch. I don't know if it's a tree or a branch. Anyway, it's across the creek, and the creek wasn't but
Yep.
2 or 3 foot either side of us. I mean, it's tight. So I said, well, I bet there's something right on there. So I pitched my jig in there, let it drop, and I just sit there and I'm like, oh man, I'm hung up. By the time I feel it move, I'm like, uh-oh, somebody's home. So I reel down and I crack it, and it's a pretty good one. And I didn't have time to even think about it. Boater was up right on it. He had the net, scooped it up. Never forget, he scooped it up, and he looks up at me. He's like, "You getting a check today?" That's all he said. And it was a 5.6. It was a 5.6, and I barely had a hook. Apparently, I didn't see, and I was stoked. So ended up having 3 keepers that day. I think I had 11 something, 10 or 11 pounds. I had double digits. Anyway, I ended up finished fifth place on 3 fish, and I got big fish. And that was my first tournament, kind of getting back into tournaments. So I was like, you know what? I think I can do this.
Yeah.
So it went good though. It was a good feeling, and said I had a great boater that day. Me and him still friends. We talk back and forth every once in a while, and he's down in Alabama now. But yeah, I had a good day, and I'm like you, man. We meet so many people and get so many connections. I mean, and
Yeah.
I can honestly say I've never had a bad boat draw. I mean, I've never not got along with somebody, and always had a good day. So blessed.
Yes, you are. You want to talk about a bad boat draw?
Oh.
I switched clubs. Okay. Funny thing is, 4 of the guys I went to high school with were in this one club, and I didn't know it.
Yep.
Until I fished the Federation, stuff like that, and got Angler of the Year, and then I switched clubs because I'm like, well, my club isn't doing anything for the Federation, so let me switch and go to it.
Yep.
And so I draw this guy on Oneida Lake. He has a nitro, decent boat.
Yep.
He has a cast on his left foot.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. I mean, he knows the lake and all that. So
yeah.
We're fishing. We're about 50 yards off the shoreline, and then comes this guy, cuts between us and the shoreline, and a local guy.
Yeah.
And my boater just starts going off on him. What the beep you think you're doing? Beep, beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep.
Yep.
Did you see me fishing here? And that guy, they're yelling back, of course. And so my boater says, yeah, you come out here, I'm going to kick both of your asses and da, 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 da. I'm like, dude, I want to see this.
Yeah, time out.
Yeah.
I can referee.
Dude, I wasn't even going to do that. I was going to sit there with a snack.
Eat some popcorn. Pop some popcorn.
Yeah, get me old pepperoni and some Swiss cheese and let them have at it. And,
there you go.
So this lasted about 20 minutes. Them arguing back and forth, and we get back to the tournament, and my boater would have finished in, I think, 2nd or 3rd place for the day.
Yeah.
But the only issue is I protested him for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah.
So needless to say, our next club meeting was not very friendly.
Yeah.
Oh, it is what it is. There's no reason to have that stuff out on the water. So I see we got one of our favorite gator hunters here.
Oh, absolutely. I seen her pop in.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. Hey guys. Hey Ashley. I know you've got some stories. Let me know and I'll send you a link. We're talking about fish stories. They can be anything from catching fish, losing fish, people you fished with, fished against. We're not prejudiced. We're taking all stories today.
Yep. Anything crazy happens, something just off the wall. So we know always something crazy happens on the lake. So
yep.
But I know you've been on the water quite a bit, so I'm sure you got something
Yep.
or 3 or 4.
If you want, Ashley, if you want to come on and tell a couple stories, let me know and I'll send you the link over to you. But how about you, Rob? You want to go again or you want me to?
No, I'll go again. I'll go again.
All right.
And so let's see. Here we go. It's actually says fish behind someone with the trolling motor on 10. Yeah, I've been there. And
Yep, been there.
and scoping in like 160 foot of water. Yeah, I've been there, so I feel you.
Yeah.
But so I get through that tournament, do pretty good, and then I think a year or two later, I'm on my closest home lake, Cumberland, and so I have another young guy, and he's a good guy. He's got a good plan, and it rains the night before, and I guess he stayed at a hotel. So I back him in, launch it out, no issues. Park his truck, no issues. Everything's good. And he comes pick me up, and he so we're out there, and his bilge starts pumping like crazy. And I'm like, he's like, oh man, I left my plug out, at the hotel. Let the rainwater drain out. I said, hey man, don't sweat it. It's cool, man. We'll just holler at one of the guys, and we'll borrow his trailer and run up there, and you can just plug it in. He's like,
yeah,
no, man, I got this. He says, grab my ankles. I'm like, what? And it's like 40s. It's very cold. Strip down to his underwear now, and good thing it's dark. And we're out there, and I got him by the ankles. He's upside down, scuba diving, put the plug in, and I'm like, this is not going to end well, is it, today? And so he gets it in. I don't know how he did it, and he kicks his legs. And luckily, he wasn't like 130 pounds soaking wet. So I pull him up, and I said, man, you're going to be cold the rest of the day. So we ain't got a long run. I said, okay. So he didn't get the plug in, but I never forget him saying, hey, grab my ankles. I'm like, huh? What? It's way too early in the morning, and I'm kind of groggy. But that was kind of a weird thing to happen. But it ended up good. We had a good day. So it was all good.
Wow, did I really mess that message up?
Uh-oh.
See, that's what I get for typing with not looking at the keys.
I think they know what you mean.
Yeah, any stories to tell?
Yep.
Let us know and we'll get you on the show. Is
Absolutely.
what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
But here's
a
story that happened to we were on every year our club does an away tournament.
Yep.
Hey Charles, how you doing, buddy?
Hey Charles, what's going on, buddy?
Now you got to have some stories to tell, so
oh yeah, absolutely.
Let us know and I'll send you the link, and so you can come on and tell your story. But we're staying in a hotel room. We paired up or hotel, I should say, and or a motel, motel. And so we're all getting ready to go out, and I look down and there's a guy sleeping underneath the stairwell. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, man, I couldn't sleep. Steve was snoring too bad. Snoring too loud. I'm like, so we had to come out in the hallway. And so so we're all getting ready to, caravan down to the lake, and all of a sudden we look, and the guy that was snoring so loud has extension cord dangling from the back of his boat. Forgot to unplug it from the wall. And so we get down there and we launch, and we're picking on him about that, and then we he gets in the boat and slides off, and he forgets to put that little thing in that lets the water in and out, the plug.
Yep.
Yeah. So he hit that, and he fished all day. Ended up getting really sunburned bad. I remember because we were laughing at him, called him Lobster Larry, and oh yeah, he was bad. So then he pulls. We get him out of the ramp or out of the water, and as we're leaving, you had to take a right coming out of Sodas Bay. Not Sodas. I can't remember. Anyways, we had to take a right. So when he does, he cuts the cuts the corner too close and drops his trailer in the ditch. You ever hear the expression, but wait, there's more?
Yep.
So we're driving back, and everybody's like, hey, let's stop and get fuel and do that. We do. Everybody gets fuel. He picks up 12-pack of beer for the ride home. And all of a sudden we look, and he stopped. Well, he got the beer, but he didn't have enough money for beer and gas, so he chose the beer. He ran out of gas on the throughway.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, this guy had a rough day. So.
Oh, man, it happens, man. I mean, there's some days that everything goes wrong. It's Murphy's Law.
Oh, yeah. I don't think anything went right for him that day.
Seems like you go down the rabbit hole and it just goes all downhill.
I've been doing it for 6 months.
Oh, yep. I hear you.
Oh, hey, we're getting there. Charles says, Charles is doing great.
That's good.
And,
good to hear, man.
Ashley says, my buddy Charles has a good story about fishing with her.
Oh, interesting.
And it sounds to me like he's got more than one.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Which one? That's So more than one. And he says he got a few good stories.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, there's always kind of something crazy happens. Seems like, I mean, there's some tournaments. Seems like you said, it starts off bad and it just kind of goes downhill. Like I think I had 2 tournaments last year that we didn't make it back to the weigh-in. I don't think I had any fish either time, so it didn't really hurt me that bad. But one of my motors, one of my motors had like 23, 24 pounds, and his batteries went dead. And time we figured out how to get the boat started, it was weigh-in time. We were still ways from the ramp. So
yeah,
but hats off to him. He had a good attitude. Didn't cuss. Didn't throw anything. He's like, you know what? My buddy's leading it right now. I either won it or got second. It's his time. It's his turn. And when we finally figured it out, going back, we had a golden eagle fly over our heads like 5 foot. It was great.
Yeah. All right, we have our first guest coming on. Not his first time on our show, but he's going to tell us some stories. Mr. Charles. Oh, there we go.
Hey, let's go, buddy.
What's up, guys?
All right.
How you, sir?
This time. Yay.
All right.
Last time, John,
I wasn't here.
Last time.
Yeah.
And Cajun Rob and I, the 2 coon asses, as I call it, we held it down and everything for Co-Anglers Corner.
Well, maybe that's why I decided not to come on the show, is because I knew you 2 would be on here.
Oh, we had a good time.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
So first, I want to wish everyone fishing the Clarks Hill BFL for the Savannah River Division this Saturday. Want to wish everyone luck. Good thing is now from what I understand, both the boater and the co-angler only have to catch 3. Which for me is a really good deal, because they don't call me 3-peat for nothing. So,
right up your alley.
Oh, more than you know. So, it seems in tournaments. I actually, the 14th, I had my club tournament, and kind of crazy, I had my 5-fish limit pretty quickly. And for some reason, though, I felt like I needed to stick with the frog that morning. And the guy I was fishing with, and he's throwing this bait, and I'm looking at it going, that is the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. Not realizing what it was. And when he said the name, I said, yep, I ain't throwing that. I said, I ain't throwing anything I can't pronounce. And so after his 3rd fish he got in the boat, he looked back, he said, you sure you don't want one of these? And I said, you know what, man? I said, I won't go against what I said. I said, give me one, let me try it. And literally in 15 minutes, I had my limit. So he threw me a Spro. See if I can pronounce it right. Sashimi.
Yep.
So, and I threw it out there and I'm swimming it back and I'm thinking, man, this thing isn't running right. But, he's letting me use his baits. I'm not going to complain. The fish came up and grabbed it. And I thought, well, I guess it's working. I didn't realize, though, it wasn't supposed to sink. It just kind of sits right there, right below the surface, right on top of the surface. I was like, but I caught some good fish on it. And first time in a while that I've been able to weigh in 5 fish. So I was actually really happy with that. I did end up with it's a story for that day, but it's kind of a bad one. I'm trying to get back in the habit of when I cast, because I haven't fished a BFL in a while. I'm trying to get back in the habit of when I cast. That imaginary line, I mean, y'all know y'all fish the BFLs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure that I stay behind my line. And I cast, and I guess.
Oh. Lost signal there for a second. There he is.
Yeah, my phone went to ringing. So.
Oh, that's all right, man.
I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb. It'll be okay.
That's all right.
But I realized when I cast where it was going, and I tried to pull it back, and when I did, it caught me in my leg.
Oof.
In both sets of trebles. Yeah, luckily only one of them went past the barb. The other one went pretty, it didn't go past the barb, but it went far enough. And he was like, "You want to go to the hospital?" I was like, "Nope." And I just grabbed the pliers and pulled it out, and we kept on fishing. And bad thing for me is I'm on a blood thinner because of my heart surgery I had.
Oh, yeah.
2022. So I have to be careful with that. But for stories, so I want to say one of the ones Ashley's talking about. I think, Rob, I told you the story.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, there she is. So we decided to go fishing. We don't go to the middle of the day.
Uh-oh.
The wind is blowing 11 miles per hour. And I didn't think it was that cold till we get out there. And I'm like, I'm going to freeze. And she said, "You ain't got nothing clothes to keep you warm?" And I was like, "No." So the funny thing is I ended up wearing her ex-boyfriend. He's her ex-boyfriend now. But her boyfriend at the time actually ended up wearing his clothes while we were fishing. And then we're going and we're not catching nothing. And I tie on the chatterbait. I throw the chatterbait out and it ends up sinking, hitting the bottom. And I was like, man, I've got to use the bathroom really bad. Number one. And so I was like, well, I'll just turn around, face away from her, do my business. Well, I take my rod and stick it under my arm, and I'm sitting there and I'm doing my thing. And all of a sudden I feel the rod just bow in half. And I was like, what in the world? And I'm thinking at first I thought it got hung. Then I realized I got a fish on there. So I'm trying to finish and I'm doing this number. And I'm trying to make sure the hook's set. Because, like I said, we ain't caught nothing all day long. I mean, I'm in the back of the boat hula hooping in with a Cheerio and everything. Looking for, a fish. And so I said, "Ashley," I said, "I got a fish on." And without missing a beat, she said, "Well, if you think I'm coming back there to help you with your thing out," she's like, "You lost your mind." And I was like, "Well, I wasn't expecting you to come help me in there." And she was like, "Nope." She said, "I'm staying right up here at the front of the boat." I said, "Okay." So luckily I got the fish in. And I want to say that one and the one she caught was the only 2 fish we caught that day.
It was rough.
Dang.
Yeah, like I said, but
It
the
was
wind
rough.
blowing.
It was cold. It was miserable.
God. Yeah, it was. I almost account that as to how miserable it was the first time I ever fished kiwi. It was. I knew it was going to be a bad morning when I was talking to this guy in another boat, and why he got up and decided it was probably 13 degrees that morning, maybe a little, not that cold. It was cold. There was ice everywhere. And I mean, this was in January up at, Seneca, South Carolina, and by Clemson, and it gets really, really cold. And it ended up snowing.
Oh,
Yeah, let's just say I looked like, and I didn't dress I dressed for cold. I didn't dress for Frosty the Snowman, because that's what it felt like. Frosty was in the back of that boat and everything, beating my tail for the rest of that day. And I was just, still wasn't as bad as, we have a buddy, her and I do, and he, to this day, yeah, I don't know. I think when God was handing out brains, he thought they said trains and went and took a ride.
oh God.
But
He took the expressway.
he took the Polar Express for real this day.
Oh yeah.
Because he had on black socks, pajama pants, and Crocs.
What?
Yep. And a little jacket. Fishing a BFL up there. And it snowed on them that day while they were fishing. And he, like a trooper, he fished that day, but yeah. He said when he got in the bathtub, which I kind of understand where he was coming from, it felt like someone was shooting 1,000 needles into his feet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I imagine so. I was like, and me and Rob from the same state, and we don't see a whole lot of snow there.
Nope.
And yeah. that's one of them. I'm gonna make sure I'm prepared next time for it.
Yeah.
I'm in central New York, and we get cold and snow.
Oh God.
So
yeah, no. Well, you know what? I would appreciate your snow right now because I'm about to die.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is miserable down here.
No,
it's absolutely miserable.
She ain't playing. I'm talking about, when she says it's hot and everything, you don't need a magnifying glass to get out there and cook no egg on the concrete.
No. We're fishing tomorrow to practice for a BFL, and it's supposed to be 110 heat index.
Oh.
It's going to be miserable.
Ew.
Well, I told her and everything that we going to meet up about 5:45 in the morning and start fishing. And then after that, we're going to be finished by 10:30.
There you go.
I'm just not going to. I'm not going to get out there and do it.
No, I'm going to be jumping in the lake.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I might jump in the lake Saturday. We're going to see.
It's very possible. Yeah, somehow or another, I get lucky and get hers, my boater and stuff. We're going to take turns swimming.
I hear you. I'll blame you.
Yeah. But another John. Rob kind of knows the story of when I first started fishing. So there was this guy. I lived in these apartments, and the guy that was the maintenance man, his name was John. And so they lived in a house down the street, because it was kind of weird how these apartments were. You went down the street and there was houses on both sides. And the apartments were the street did end it into the apartments. So as I would, kind of do my thing each day, I ended up meeting the maintenance guy, John, and we got talking, and he's the one who kind of got me into bass fishing, took me bass fishing, but he liked to drink.
Yep.
And not just a little bit. He liked to drink a lot. And so after I went with him the first few times, I realized why he asked me to go fishing with him. And that was for the sole purpose of he needed someone to drive the truck and the boat.
Yep.
Even as a deputy now, I have probably taken more field sobriety tests, because the game warden would pull up and see all these beer cans everywhere in the boat. Well, it didn't matter that I told him, I said, I'm the designated boater, I guess is what you would call it. I'm the one who's driving the boat, working the trolling motor, and, driving the truck. And the game warden said, well, we gonna go ahead and still test you. Now, for some reason, we always got stopped by the same game warden. So after a while, he would pull up and knew us by name, and he'd say, "Hey, John. Hey, Charlie." He said, he said, "I already know who's driving." He's like, "So we're good." And so we end up going probably one of the last times him and I went fishing before I moved to Georgia. We go out there and we have this brand new young game warden. And anyone that fishes know how brand new young game wardens want to make a name for themselves, some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. And he pulled up, and when I say, like I said, when I say John drank, he was putting down an 18 pack of Natty Light like it was nothing.
Wow.
And oh yeah, he was he was a very functioning drinker. I'm gonna put it that way.
I've known one of them before.
Oh yeah, and so of course the new game warden pulls up, and we're like, "Oh, this ain't the same guy that usually stops us."
Oh.
And yeah, so he put both of us in handcuffs, towed the boat all the way back to the boat ramp. And now this is in the beginning of summer.
Yep.
And so he has us out there in the parking lot doing these field sobriety tests, seeing if we could pass them. And so, long story short, he ended up taking them. I passed it. My buddy didn't, of course, because he was about 3 shades to the wind. And because he told me, he said, "Well, sir," he said, "Your buddy here passed." He said, "But he said you didn't pass there." And of course, my buddy John says, "No, you know what?" And the game warden said, "Sir," he said, "I'm gonna have to go ahead and take you to jail." And I thought, "Oh wow!" I was like, "Well, this is new." And
Right.
so I said, "Well, I'm good to load the boat up on the trailer and drive on to the house, right?" And he said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Where are you? What jail are you actually taking me to?" And he told me, and I was like, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'm gonna go put the boat up." I said, "John, I'll be up there in a little bit to get you and stuff." And so the jail where it was back home, you didn't have to go like now, like where I work, you have to go into the front of the jail and talk to reception. You could just go in the back of the jail, get them out. And I walked in, and I smell. I know now exactly what it was, but I smelled something and it burned my nose. And I thought, what in the world is that? I was like, well, they done made him mad and he done wanted to fight them. And they done sprayed them.
Oh.
Yeah. And so they said, "Sir," said, "you can come back and get him tomorrow morning." Said he gonna stay with us overnight. And I was like, "Well, can I talk to him?" And they said, "Well, when he gets back from the hospital and everything, he gonna be in the hospital for a while."
Jeez.
So I had to go home and explain to his wife what happened, where he was, why he was staying the night. And so for about, like I said, that's probably one of the last times we went fishing, but probably for about a month after that, I'd call him or go by and be like, "Hey man, you want to go fishing?" He said, "No, I'm good for right now." And just put the icing on the cake, that boat sat there, and then, of course, Rob, you know how hot it gets back home.
Oh yeah.
Well, we caught fish that day, and we put them in the live well. Now it was an old 14 or 16-foot Sea Arc,
Yep.
aluminum boat with old 25 on the back of it, and them live wells, it aerates, but it's just aluminum.
Right.
And we had them fish in there, and both of us had forgot about it. So about a month went by, and I walked by the boat one day and stuff, just to go up and kind of talk with them and hang out with them. And I was like, man, there are flies everywhere. What in the world is the deal?
Ooh.
Yeah. So he said, hey man, he said, I'll pay you. He said, how much you want to clean the boat out? And I said, son, you can't give me enough money to clean that one out. I said, no, man. And he ended up getting it cleaned out finally, but it took a minute. And
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that's kind of just one of them stories there of, it's more than like when I was on last time. It's always more than just fishing.
Oh yeah, it is.
Exactly. Yeah. We appreciate it.
Like I said, I'm gonna tell one more story and then a little quick one, and then
yeah, man, you good?
Then get off of here. So I had my buddy, the one I told you about, Rob, that passed away from the hunting accident.
Yep.
So we used to when TikTok first came out, we just thought that was just the coolest thing. And we'd sit there, we'd make videos of each other while we were fishing, just stupid videos. And so they had this one. It said, hey, said, I heard they're looking for you and everything. Says, you better get your crayons and your helmet and run. And so I've got my phone in where it's cameras, I'm looking at the screen, and he's in the back of the boat peeing off the back of the boat. And I'm sitting there, filming him the whole time and stuff. Well, we look at the video later on, we watch it for some reason. And I said, Joe, I said, what in the world? I said, that's a boat back there behind you. And he goes, oh, yeah, man. He said, he said, remember them 3 old women we saw on the pontoon? And I said, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, I was peeing and they were just away.
Oh, heck. Oh, heck.
Boy, I said, you didn't even say nothing. He said, I knew you were filming something. He said, so I didn't want to say nothing. And I said, oh, all righty then. I said, well, I said, okay. I said, good one. Actually, before I go, so him and I were actually fishing. I'd never fished Lake Sinclair. And the Bass Club him and I were in decided to go to Lake Sinclair.
Right.
Which is right there by Milledgeville, Eatonton, Georgia. I think it's about 2 hours away from here. Well, we get back in this cove, and I'm throwing a little Ned rig. He's throwing a crankbait, and we're actually catching one fish after another. We're in the tournament, and I'm like, man, this is pretty good. We ain't catching nothing with size, but we're catching and having fun. And it's in the morning time, and we get to we're going, and the cove kind of goes in the back, and then it makes like a little circle where it starts to come back out. And so as we get back there, there's no house right there. As the back of the boat's turned, I was like, well, I got to pee and everything. And so I'm sitting there peeing. Well, like I said, him and I both were pranksters and jokesters, always pulling pranks and jokes on each other. Well, he cuts the trolling motor up, and so he makes us start going faster. And I'm like, hey, man, I was like, dude, stop, I'm peeing. And he was like, oh, it's okay, man, ain't nobody out here. As we come around, or as my part of the boat swings around and stuff, I look up, and there's an old lady standing on the dock in her bathrobe with a coffee cup.
Oh, heck. And
I'm just like, oh, Lord Jesus, I'm going to jail. So I finished, I put myself back together real quick and stuff. And I said, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I said, I did not mean for you to see that. And she said, son, she said, I come out here every morning with my little dog here and have my coffee. She's like, and I see y'all guys out here fishing. She said, you're not the first one and you're not going to be the last. And I said, well, yes, ma'am. I said, thank you. I said, but I'm sorry and everything. And she said, without missing a beat, she said, and don't worry, boy. She said, that thing's so small. She said, I didn't see much anyway. And I was like, He's in front
Wow.
of the boat laughing. And I'm just sitting there going, I said, well,
Ain't nothing you can do, man.
you can't. Right, Rob. You can't do nothing, man. It's just one of those. It's like, have a nice day, enjoy your coffee. And I told him, I said, boy, I said, if you ever do that to me again, I said, I'm going to push you out the boat. I said, I promise you. But, well, guys, thank y'all. I got to get some stuff ready for tomorrow morning. Like I said, Ashley said, we're going to pre-fish. It's going to be a hot one Saturday too, but hopefully we got a little game plan. Like I said, the thing is, I don't think either one of y'all have ever fished Clark's Hill, but the bad thing with that lake, it's a bad thing and a good thing is you might go out one day and catch 17 pounds and go out the next day and catch 5 for 5.
Yeah.
Because something with this lake, and I don't know if it's because it's a herring lake or what it is, but there's something with this lake that just, from whatever one day works, it doesn't seem to work the next day.
Yep.
And it seems like the worse the weather is and stuff, the better they bite.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So, but we're gonna give it our best shot, like I said. And
sure.
I know they had it took for the co-angler side, for the South Carolina division Clark's Hill tournament, it took, I want to say, 7 pounds off of 3 fish to win.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact, it was 7 pounds and I want to say 10 ounces, and they had a tie for first place. So I want to say they ended up splitting the money for first place because they both, I think, hit around like $1,250. So
Okay.
I want to say they split first place. Big bass on the co-anglers, big bass on the co-angler side was 5.7 on there. So,
Dang.
and he only had, but that was the only fish I want to say he caught that day.
Yep.
So, I mean, the good thing with our lake, like I kind of talked with, you, Rob, about when I was on last, is this lake is set up to where you can go one way, and where you are and where you go, you'll think you end up on a whole nother lake.
Oh yeah.
You'll have one area that's always clear, then you'll get some that's semi-stained. You'll get another part of the lake that's stained. You get one part of the lake, you're not going to catch anything but spotted bass.
Oh yeah.
And the crazy part is, if you see the, stripers or the hybrids, if you see them schooling, you got to throw in there with something and try to catch them. Because the thing with our lake is the largemouth, and especially the spotted bass, for some reason they run with those hybrids and those stripers all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience on, a lot of other lakes that, are similar to this. So maybe that's just something they do. Like I said, I don't know if that's how it is on even some of the other, because, like I was talking about, we have what they call the Savannah River chain of lakes.
Yeah.
It actually starts, a lot of people think it starts with Kiowee, but it doesn't. It starts with Lake Chickasee. And then it goes Kiowee, Hartwell, Russell, then us.
Yep.
So we kind of like, I always say we're like the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
We catch all the crap that comes down.
I've seen bass run with carp before, strangely enough. I've seen that a couple of times.
Well, and that's it's funny you brought that up, Rob, because I have too. But you always hear, well, if you see the carp and everything, the bass aren't there. I don't believe that's not true.
No, not always the case.
Because I've actually seen them. I didn't realize what it was, but you know how they get up on that bank when they're doing their little thing.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And you're like, man, my God, look at the size of that bass up there. And I've thrown a buzz bait up there when they've been doing it and actually caught bass.
Yep.
And my buddy's like, I don't get that. He's like, man, that was a carp. And he told me, he's like, look, he said, you'll know when it's carp. Watch when they do that. Keep watching. Because you'll see their back, out the water, or you'll see that orange belly.
Yep.
But like I said, we get a lot of, I don't know what y'all call them. We call them jackfish.
Yeah. Like
a chain pickerel.
Yep.
Pretty much what it is. Man, we get a lot of those here. They're terrible. I took a boy fishing. We have a base here, Fort Eisenhower, Fort Gordon, whatever they call it now. And they have their little reservoir on there. That's their water system. They have a little bass tournament all the time. And so I took a boy, had never been bass fishing before, wanted to go. And so he caught one of those jackfish. And, they got some pretty nasty teeth.
Yeah.
And he goes, man, look at this bass. And before I could say, dude, that's not a bass, don't lip it, he done grabbed it and lipped it.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm talking about all the way into his finger, into his thumb. And I was just like, oh, wow. I said, well, that ain't good. And so he finally fixed himself up and put a Band-Aid on, threw the fish back. And he said, what was that thing? And I was like, we call it jackfish, man. And he says, can you eat it? And I was like, they're really, really bony.
Yeah.
I was like, and then of course he caught a.
Uh-oh, his phone's ringing.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. We got a couple comments we run through. Ashley said, yep, she got kicked out. Internet's acting a fool. So we kind of figured.
Yep.
She says, we need Lori Pitts art in here for a boat peeing story. Uh-oh.
Yeah. All right. So you got anything else, Rob?
Our buddy Greg Bogan shaking in says, heck, I would get at least a 6-pounder. Yep, I hear you, man.
Yep.
But the only thing I know our man, Mr. Abbott, is a big G-Man fan, and I was fishing him one time, and he said, hey, well, I'm gonna do 2 more. I was down in Toho fishing a Bass Open and got paired with him, and so he's fishing. He says, hey, I'm going to do a couple more casts and we're going to get out of here. I said, okay. So I'm getting my stuff ready. He says, hey, I'm going to take a quick leak, in front of the boat. I said, hey, do what you need to do. So I'm getting my stuff tied down and situated, life jacket on. And by the time, as soon as he starts taking a leak, this airboat with about 10 tourists comes around the corner. We've been hearing him all day. And he comes around the corner in front of the boat. And he's like, I'm in midstream, man. I can't do nothing. And he went on, luckily, and he says, hey, tell Lulu I wasn't flashing nobody. I was like, yeah, I got you, man. But that was pretty good. That was a good memory. We both laughed on that one.
Yeah, here's a tip for you: if you're gonna fish, always wear socks.
Yep.
We're fishing a club tournament up on St. Lawrence River, and one of our buddies comes in and he's got one sock on, one sock off, and we're like, dude, what happened to your sock? He goes, well, it called me. We're like, what? He goes, number 2 hit me. He goes, we ran out of toilet paper and I had to use my sock.
That happens.
All right. Yep. So
sometimes the sock has to take one for the team. So
yeah, it was a little while later, and couple weeks later, and his team partner comes in. He has no socks. He goes, man, that was a rough one out there.
Ooh, not good.
He goes, I'll never eat Taco Bell the night before a tournament.
I hear you. But yeah, Charles said my boss call. Hey, Charles, understand, man. You good, brother?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man. We always enjoy having you on, and
yeah,
we'll definitely tune in. I'm gonna tune in to the weigh-in, man. See how good you do Saturday. I know you're gonna do good, man.
Yep.
Best of luck, man. Tight lines out there. And
exactly.
And then real quick, Greg says, brothers, I missed your Saturday podcast. Wanted to watch it, but busy at work. It's all right, man. You can go back on YouTube and catch it. So you're good,
Yep.
man. We know how it is. Gets tied up, so it happens.
So go ahead, Rob. I know you got something else. If not, I got tons of them, dude.
Oh, I understand. Let's see. Go ahead with yours. I'll think a minute. My memory ain't as good as it used to be.
So we went to Black Lake, which is a good lake north of me. It's about 5 hours north. And one of the guys I'm fishing with, I mean, it's a club tournament. We're all having a good time and fun. We all go up there like a week early and practice and bust each other chops. And so tournament morning, we're all standing around each other's boats and stuff like that. And I draw this guy. And all of a sudden, he's like, dude, I'm on a jig bite. I'm like, all right, great. And he goes and sets the hook. backlash.
Oh.
Somebody may have loosened his drag.
Oops. Oops.
So he puts it down, throws it down in the box, grabs another rod, throws it out. After about 50, I'd say about 6 or 7 fish, he realizes he has his pre-fish jig on.
Yep.
Hook's bent.
Oh man.
Hook's all bent over, so he couldn't hook anything. And he's like, "Man, I was wondering why I wasn't getting any fish." I'm like, "Well, I don't
That's
know."
why.
Yeah,
But must got bit on the rocks. It got dull on the rocks.
yeah, must have. Oh, he when he realized what had happened, he threw that rod down. I thought he was gonna snap it over his leg. He was a big guy too.
Oh man. But yeah, I think crazy things happen. I guess another crazy thing happened. I went to one of my best friends lives in Carolina, and all he does is fish the big bass bashes by Cabela's.
Okay.
So he had a Gunnersville tournament, and I said, "Man, I'm gonna come down and fish with you." Yeah, come on. I don't have a nobody partner. I said, "Well, cool." So went with him down there and was having a good day, and he caught like a 6-something, 6'4", I think. But he weighed in, and made a good check. So we go kind of the area down a little bit, and I'm throwing a mag draft, and I'm just kind of slow. Well, I feel a swipe and a miss. I'm like, dang it. And I kind of jerked it like that, and it hit it. And it was like a 4.8, I think. And he said, "You want to wade in?" I was like, yeah, let's go wade in. And his boat broke down. I'm like, dang it. His motor went out. I had no Devon Rude. So we're just bridge, and we see this one guy. He's out by himself, and he's by himself. And he has another partner from Carolina. He calls, and he didn't answer. He's like, okay, well, we'll go see if this guy, he's fishing by himself. He may be fun fishing. So we go up there, and it's his buddy. And he just put his raincoat in the storage and had the phone in it, so he didn't hear it. So, and he has wife. We didn't see his wife. His wife was bent down doing something, tying something up. And so he towed us into this local ramp, and then he called a buddy actually, and that lived in the area, and he come picked up my buddy, got his truck and trailer, come picked us up. And we drove, weighed in, and I finished I think 6. So I made a check and did. He said, well, and it's like the last day I think, and he said, well, you want to spin around to weigh in, or what? There was just a little bit of a no fish area, and I said, yeah. I said, let's fish these ramps. There's a few little ramps right there at the park, state park, where he's weighing in that nobody's using. I said, let's fish here. So I'm drop shotting, boom, something takes off with it. Another 4-pounder. And we look, on the big bass, you can pull it up. And it's like, I think 20, 30 minutes ago is like, the bottom bump was like 3 pounds. Like, so we're trying to load the boat, waves, and we got the troll motor, and we're having a heck of a Chinese fire drill getting the boat up on the trailer. So we get it on the trailer, get up there, and time like 5 or 10 minutes till a bunch of 4-pounders come in. But I missed another check by like that much. So never give up. Never give up.
No. Here's some. When I first started fishing the club, I fish mainly like a worm, a Texas rig, uh, spinner bait, and crankbaits every once in a while. And so I had, I think, 3 or 4 rods. And so we go to this one place, and now everybody fishes a jig at that lake.
Yep.
And my buddy comes, and he says, "You bring any jigs?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "I don't have to worry about you winning." So a couple weeks later, we got this. It's called a 90 mile yard sale.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right. Not knowing anything, I went and I saw a fishing rod, real stout rod. I'm like, all right, I got it. I bring it to the club. I'm like, hey, will this work? He goes, what the hell are you doing with that? Push pull? I'm like, no. He goes, it has a tuna right on it. I'm like, dude, I ain't losing one.
No. Heard that.
So, yeah. Some of the things we do, and
some of the situations we get in. Some of the situations we get in.
Yep.
It happens.
Here's one. I'll tell my brother. We're out bullhead fishing. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's a type of
Yep.
fish up here. Okay, you get them mainly in the colder months, and they're real good to eat. So my buddy and I, my old travel partner and I, were like, hey, we were roommates back then, and so we're like, let's go bullhead fishing. Like, all right, you mind if I call my brother? He wants to go. All right. So we're out there fishing this little cove, and my brother's freezing his butt off. He has a lantern. He's hugging, right?
Oh wow.
He has a winter yeah, he's freezing. He goes, drop me off over here. Drop me off. I'm going in that building to get warm. All right. Well, we know what the building is.
Yeah.
It's a strip club.
Uh-oh.
so so we dropped him off the strip club.
Oh man. And he didn't know it.
No.
Ugh.
It's actually the same strip club that my buddy and I went to with our first tournament, where we
Yep.
got totally, yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's stuff like this that you never forget.
Yep.
And it's one of the reasons why I keep doing it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we told him before the show. I mean, the people we've met and become friends with, and the experience we had. I mean, it's man.
Yeah.
Like I was you probably when I was a kid. I just dream, what we doing now.
Yep.
Fishing tournaments, meeting folks. I got a chance to fish with Gerald Swindle and Clay Dyer. I mean, it's been great.
Yep. Anything else there, boss man?
No, I think we had some good. Thanks for Charles and Ashley coming on, and thanks for Greg and my good buddy Die Hard Anglers tuning in. So thanks for everybody tuning in, and yeah, we like to do stuff like this every once in a while. It's good, fun, and we have a few you guys to jump on, so it's always good fun. We always look forward to doing something like this. So absolutely.
Yeah. And tomorrow's show is Alvin Pagliani. I'm going to be talking about a couple of his tournament series he's got going this year, and going to really kick him off next year. So we got him coming on talking about that, and it'll be a good show.
Yeah, Alvin's always a great guest, and one of the sharpest guys. Runs TAAO. I mean, it's a great guy. So y'all tune in. He's always interesting, always sharp as a tack, as they say.
Yep. And I'm usually dull as a piece of glass.
Oh man,
that isn't broke.
Yeah.
So, all right, folks, you guys take care. If you're out there fishing, make sure you have plenty of water. Make sure you hydrate and wear your life vest.
Absolutely. And so y'all tune in tomorrow, and we appreciate you all.
All right, take care.